ain't never gonna stop this fire.
I can't believe this business is so incredible, and if I can do this, every single one of you can do this. Every single one of you.
Something higher, ain't never gonna stop this fire.
Consider yourself lucky tonight. Let's give it up for Cody Hofhine.
You guys are awesome. I'm not, was that you? Josh is a good friend of mine. Randall's a good friend. In fact, there's so many good friends in here that I look up to, admire, that have helped me become who I am, and I sincerely mean this. But I'd also be crazy to not tell you that just a short time ago, I was sitting in these seats, not knowing how I was going to make my next mortgage payment. And I also sincerely mean that. My wife's here to validate and verify this. This is my why behind me. This is my family. So, husband to a beautiful wife, and a father to 4 amazing kids that are spirited, crazy, and teach me a lot of patience, but also bless me with a lot of love. Incredible, incredible. One thing Wendy and I did right out of the gates, and I share this because it's going to come into play in just a few minutes. When we first got married, Wendy and I were both working. We didn't have kids. We were making like 80 to 90 grand. And when you're 21, 22 years old, you feel like a king and a queen. 80 to 90 grand, no kids, and you're like, this is amazing. Life is incredible. But what we committed to do, because we knew in the near future we'd want kids, we would want her to also stay at home and be a full-time mom. What we did is we committed to getting out of debt early. We paid off everything but our home. So we had no car payments. If we bought toys, we bought it with cash. We didn't want to do anything unless we could afford it. So if it wasn't paid off, we couldn't have kids, and we wanted kids. So this is going to come into play here in just a second. There's a couple things that I want you to think about as I go through this. I'm going to talk about some things that I would deem worthy of seeking. It's what I call 3 Gs, and so we're going to go over this. It's not like the T-Mobile 3G network or anything like that, but I'll go into this in depth. The first one is growth. And I want you to think about this. So as I was growing up, does anyone remember this TV show? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, right? I had, as a little kid, I'd always watch this show. And you had Regis Philbin multiple times throughout this whole entire show. He'd do, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And he just was a goofball, but I loved him. And I always said, me, I want to be a millionaire. I absolutely want to be a millionaire. But it wasn't for the normal reasons of living in a big old mansion on a hill. And it wasn't so I could drive a fancy car or a Lamborghini. It was 100% towards the fact that if I could become a millionaire, I saw the good that I'd be able to do and that I could do if I had the money a millionaire had. And that started as a young age. It came from incredible parents that were always charitable and always helped individuals out, helped families out. And I got to learn from incredible parents. So, 2010, I'm working as an insurance agent. I'm just a simple employee, and I'm busting my butt off. And you don't make a lot of money in insurance. It's very, very like long-term game. It's not something you'd say, hey, I want to get into insurance because I just want to cash out in 2 years. It doesn't work that way. So, few months into it, they saw that I was serious. I was going around knocking door to door, and there's one thing that I'll always do, and you'll always see me doing, that's smile. I run around knocking doors nonstop, and I've done that also for even investors. I even knocked doors with Matt Sneed at the beginning of the days in that neighborhood in Murray that has a little hidden lake. Do you remember this?
Yeah, dude, I sold a house on that lake last 2 months ago. I'm going to get that one that I talked about.
So I remember this like it's yesterday. I knocked doors, and I'd get insurance policies. Now, many of you, I insured your homes, your autos, your investment properties, and I appreciate that. You guys were awesome and kind to allow me to do that. What really started was Josh and Randall. I finally convinced these two to let me insure their fix and flips, which is the worst policy because it's on the books and it's off the books. It's on the books and it's off the books. So you never make money, but I knew if I could serve them in an area where they weren't getting served, in fact, their policy was wrong, I knew I could gain their other business, and I did. So from there, they started passing me around like wildfire. Randall would get up. He's like, this is my favorite insurance guy. I love this guy. If you are insured with Cody, you're crazy. And I was like, yes, let's do this, Randall. Keep going. He didn't even make me pay him. This was awesome. So my first stab, I get into where they now say, hey, Cody, we'd like to make you a business partner. This is in the insurance world. And I'm like, okay, what is the catch here? They said it's going to take $30K. We're going to buy out this agency. We're going to adopt all their appointments, all their companies, so that you can now represent multiple companies, and we want you to be a partner. $30K didn't exist in our bank, but what did exist are, I wouldn't call them assets, if you know what they are, they're liabilities, but things that we could sell off and come up with the $30K. We owned a Ford truck. We owned a Honda Accord. We owned a Yamaha Grizzly four-wheeler. We owned a trailer. We sold everything. We sold everything that was legal out of a garage. We sold everything. We sold it all, and we came up with the magic number of 30 grand. And I will tell you, what were we left with is this beautiful $3,500 forest green minivan to match Randall's pickup truck. And we also had this beautiful $1,000 Honda Civic. So we were able to sell everything and still maintain a debt-free life. We didn't take on payments. Now, that bumper was held on with baling wire. You drive down the freeway and sometimes you have to get out and pick it up and rewrap the baling wire. This thing was awful. My parents questioned, why on earth would you allow yourself to have this minivan and put your kids in them? Funny catch behind this, it came from Canada, it was in kilometers. So we thought it had 280,000 miles and it was like 160,000 miles. But it was a hoopty. It was a clean hoopty. But we didn't keep up with the Joneses. We didn't need to impress anyone. And that's hard to do in this day and age. So many times I see people that don't have money, they still want to impress people, and they still want to make sure that everyone thinks I'm doing okay, so I'm going to have a big car with a big payment so people think things are fine. We were fine driving this. Things were so tight, and what I learned my first year in insurance is it's not unicorns and rainbow. Matt Strong got a kick out of that. Do you like unicorns? But 60 hours a week, a lot of drive, a lot of dedication, determination doesn't necessarily equate to being successful or becoming a millionaire, which I wanted to do. The first year I made $19,000. That's it. $19,000. During that time, I could get ticked off at the world and wonder, why did I do this? Why would I put my family through this? And I had those feelings. But I also want to tell you guys that life doesn't happen to us. Life happens for us. I know in fact, let's see if you guys will get vulnerable with me. How many have experienced or currently experiencing challenges? Okay? If not, most likely you just didn't want to raise your hand. I'm okay with that. But there's something unique about this room. Each one of us are experiencing or have experienced hard challenges, trials, difficulties in our lives. That's part of life. But I want to tell each one of you, even if it's something you guys are going through, something that's harder than I've ever had to go through, I do want each one of you to know, and I get a little bit emotional about this because of how hard 19 grand was. There was not enough money, guys. It didn't add up. It didn't make sense. But during that 19K, it taught me the most important lessons of my life. Whatever you're going through right now, don't curse God, don't curse your spouse, don't curse your friends, don't curse your dog. Accept the fact that these trials and these challenges are meant to make you stronger, better individuals. Don't flee from them. Don't run away from them. You're going to be stronger people because you accept the fact that it's made for you. Life is happening for you. It's not happening to you. It is said that if you give $1 million to someone that's not a millionaire, pretty dang quickly they're going to lose every penny. But if you take away all the money and all the wealth from a true millionaire, in no time, they will have it all right back. Why? It's because they work on personal growth. Every day, they spend time working on themselves. They don't think about what's the next magic bullet for marketing, what's the next magic bullet for getting slim and trim in 2 seconds. They're working on themselves daily, personal growth. Darren Hardy, one of my favorite stories. Darren Hardy had written this 40-page document, 40 pages. He said, I want to know who my perfect wife is, and he wrote 40 pages of his dream wife. She's going to look like this, her hair's going to look like this, she's going to have this as her hobbies, she's going to love this, she's going to come from this kind of family. 40 pages. It's not a coincidence that a few days later he goes to, which was his mentor, Jim Rohn, and he goes to a workshop, and Jim Rohn says, hey guys, do you want to have whatever you want in life? And Darren Hardy's like, yeah, I got 40 pages on it. Like, yes. And he says, you have to now work on you and become the person worthy of whatever it is you want. He twisted it. Darren Hardy sat there and he's like, you idiot. I wrote 40 pages on what I want on a dream wife, when really what I should be doing is writing a 40-page document on myself of who I need to become so I can attract or be worthy of a wife of this caliber that I wrote. And that's what he did. He wrote 40 pages on this is what a woman of this caliber is looking for. She's looking for a man that does this, does this, does this, takes care of this, does that, does this. 40 pages. And when he started working on him and working on those 40 pages that he wrote about himself, within a couple years, he found his dream wife. And he said, it's eerie how close to the 40-page document this wife represented. Guys, this is powerful. If you're thinking about your teams, if you have a wholesaling business, a real estate business, you've got equity, you've got a brokerage, whatever it is you're doing, and you're thinking about your team, and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to find A players. How many want to find A players? Hopefully everyone's hand goes up. A players. Here's the secret. Darren Hardy, Jim Rohn. You don't find A players. You attract A players by first becoming the leader that A players are looking for. It's unlocked, guys. That's it. So if you find A talent, this is what I was doing at the beginning of my real estate business. I was looking for A players, and I found them. And they didn't last. And I'd sit there and scratch my head, and I'm like, why are they not sticking? Why are they not staying around? I had to look in the mirror and realize, Cody, you're not the leader that they're looking for. Work on you and become a leader that is worthy of A players so that when you get those A players on your team, they stick because you're the leader they're looking for as well. Do you see how this all works? Start with you. Don't look outside. Become the person worthy of whatever it is you want. The quickest way to become a millionaire? Serve 1 million people. Don't think about marketing. Don't think about anything other than just find 1 million people the fastest way possible and serve each one of them. Put serve before you sell. If you're going out there to just sell your product, sell your services, sell who you are, you're going to lose and you're going to be treading water your whole life. Serve the people, and the byproduct is you do a ton of business. The second G is guidance. Jim Rohn teaches us that we're the average of the 5 closest individuals that we spend the most time with. Guys, think about this a little bit deeper, and I'm going to take it a little bit deeper. I love this quote. If you follow me on social media, I quote this at least once a week. This is my favorite quote. You're the average of the 5 closest individuals you spend the most time with. What does this mean? It means surround yourself that are with people that are already in the destination that you want to be at. Let's say that again. Surround yourself with people that are already in the destination that you want to be at. When you find those individuals, you'll see that they have capabilities and they have different thinking. They live different principles. than you may be living or the capabilities that you may not have at the moment. Here's the best part. Because you're starting to see how these individuals think, because you start to see the principles that they're living and how they are living their life, as you start to gain those capabilities and as you start to live those same principles, the likelihood of you becoming them becomes a reality. That's the power of the quote. This is probably one of the most misquoted quotes. One of the misquoted poems is the road less taken, or path less taken. That's a misquoted all the time. This is one of the most misquoted. They just think, go find 5 people that are millionaires and game over. Here's the other side curveball to this. If you want to be a great wholesaler, go find 5 great wholesalers that are already doing business, that are already in the destination that you want to be at. These 5 people may not be the 5 people when you say, I want to be spiritual. Go find 5 people, and it may not be the same 5 people that are wholesalers. 5 people that are spiritual. If you want to be fit, go find 5 people that are fit. And they may not be at all the same of the last 10 that we just talked about. So whatever area of life you're looking for guidance and you're looking to increase how good you're going to get and how you want to become someone better, find the individuals in that category that are already doing what it is you want to do. Surround yourself with them. Do whatever it takes, and it may take money. Guys, Utah is known as the cheapest state in the United States. When I say cheap, not poor, not broke, cheap as in they hold on to everything and they won't let it go. That is an awful statistic. Because that letting go of the money, if it takes to get to a mentor that's already doing it, is going to help you become someone faster than if you just do it by yourself and reinvent the wheel. It's crazy. That's a crazy statistic, right? Be careful who you share your dreams with. Why do I say this? I was once here in this seat, and I remember being pumped up. Justin had just got up. Andy McFarland just got up. Randall had shared his story about how his first fix and flip, he lost $50K, but then turned around and did this. And then he was working for FedEx, and he used the freaking FedEx truck to deliver his sheetrock to his next fix and flip. UPS. It was a UPS? So he used our tax dollars to do his fix. I'm just kidding. It's brilliant, right? I remember all these stories. I was sitting in a chair, and I was amped up. I was like, I want this. I want to do this. The issue was, the next Sunday, me and my wife and kids go out to my parents' house, and we start talking to them. Hey, guess what? I think I'm going to leave insurance. This is crazy, and I'm going to get into real estate. There's this thing called wholesaling. I think it sounds really fun. I want to do it. Do you know what my first response was? First of all, it was silence, and it was awkward. And then it was the ones where the teeth don't move. Really? Did you see what happened in 2008? You're going to get into real estate? And I look at Wendy, I'm like, yeah. What's wrong with that? No, really, did you see what happened in 2008? And I'm thinking, gosh, maybe this is a dumb idea. I mean, Cody, you don't have to be prideful, you don't have to be greedy. Insurance is great. You are going on a snail's pace to where you want to go. You have to be in the office like 10 hours a day. Man, don't be greedy. And it started ruining my dream. It started ruining my goals. Be careful who you share your dreams with. If you want to be a dang good wholesaler, talk to the dang good wholesalers. Don't talk to the naysayers that are over here saying the sky is falling. It's 2008 all over again. It's right around the corner. Look out. Don't hang out with those guys. Here's the other tip. Only take advice from someone you would trade places with. I bought my first rental. I told someone in my family, I bought my first rental. Why would you buy a rental? Dude, tenants like trash that crap and smoke meth and do this and do that. And I was like, family member, how many rentals have you owned? I haven't owned any. Well, see how I can't take that advice? They shut up. Guys, this is crucial. Don't take advice unless you're willing to trade the guy places. If you can't look at him in the eyes and say, man, I'd gladly trade this guy places, don't ask that guy the question you're about to ask him. Seek advice from who you would trade places with, and it will get you to the top quicker. 2015, I wanted to get into wholesaling real estate. The reason why I wanted to do it was I came home early one day. Wendy had to come. I came home early, 2015. I wanted to surprise my wife. I walk in the door, I walk in the kitchen. Guys, the surprise was all mine. My wife was in tears, and it wasn't quiet tears. I walked over to her, I said, "Wenz, what's going on?" No response. "Wendy, what's going on?" She looks up, scared to death, and says, "I don't know how we're paying our bills this month. We don't have enough money coming in, Cody." It was in this moment right here that I happened to be just a week earlier listening to Tony Robbins, and he's doing his rah-rah cheer on this YouTube video that I was watching. And he says, "If you want life to change, it's you that has to change. If you want life to get better, it's you that has to get better." Who's with me? Say aye. Aye. I'm glad you guys know Tony. I knew I had to do something to make it change. So in 2015, I wanted to get into wholesaling real estate. What I did is I found a mentor that was doing a lot of wholesaling. Morally, he lined up with me. How he did it lined up with me. And quite frankly, and I told him this when I was on the phone, I said, "Tom, I looked at you and I was like, if you're this successful, if someone like you can do this, there's no way on God's green earth I can't do this." And Tom started laughing his head off. He's like, "Bro, consider you part of the tribe. Let's roll." So I get into wholesaling real estate. 39 days. So I paid him. He gave me guidance, the second G, guidance, right? We have growth, guidance. I pay him money. He gives me guidance. I get to my destination quicker. 39 days after I paid him $5,000, I did my first wholesale deal, $24,000. Here's the better part of this story. Because there were individuals in this room that helped me take that leap of faith, knowing that I could trust the process and that they would be willing to comp out properties for me and they'd be willing to help me along the way. I still didn't know what I was doing, but I trusted two individuals deeply. I called Josh and Randall. "I think I got a deal, man. I think I got a deal. Come on out here." Josh dropped what he was doing and he came out there. Guys, there's a culture here if you know this. Do we spend time and just sit on these chairs and at the end of the day you haven't met anyone? There is so much, not just wealth in this room, there is so much good in this room. And two of the many that I'll point out throughout the night are right here on this front row. I called these two and I said, "You guys help me get into this. I'd be nothing without you guys. I wouldn't even dare to do this. I think I've got a deal. Can you come out here and look at this?" Josh drops everything that he's doing and he comes out on Creek Road. Leland, you were involved in this. Leland, you went from up there to here? Love it. Josh gets out, he says, "Cody, what do you want to make on this?" I'm like, "I think I could make $24,000. He says, "I think that's fair." He didn't talk me down. He didn't say, "Nope, I'll give you only $20,000. He says, "I think that's fair." Josh thinks, okay, we could do this flip. It ends up not being a fit. He turns around a couple days later and gets Leland in on the deal. And I think you made another 15 or 20? Something like that. He's humble too. So 15 or 20. Leland goes down the road of fixing and flipping it, and we just talked up there. I thought it was 50 grand. He made closer to 60 grand. It was a win, 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 win all the way down the road. So if you're nervous about getting people involved, I would rather have 50% of something than 100% of nothing. Get people involved, and if people are helping you, my goodness, give back and help those people that made you become someone better. So many times we are helped by individuals and we forget to come back and thank them or involve them and bless them back. Find ways to bless those that have blessed you. That's how the world works, okay?
Doesn't that make you want to cheer?
Hey!
Clapping! Where is the clapping?
So I want you to think about this, where you want to be 5 years from now. And let's go through this reality check, okay, guys? Maybe you guys are already on your path. I love it. Stay on your path. Keep going. By the way, is that a bear or a rhino on your shirt? Oh, I hope it's rhino. I love rhinos, guys. a reality check. I want you to think about this. If you're on your path, great. You're doing good. Stay on it. If you're in the seat like I was and you're thinking, gosh, I got to get away from this corporate feel. I've got to get rid of this like 9 to 9. It wasn't 9 to 5 for me. My first shot at entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not, it's working 100 hours a week for yourself so you don't have to work 40 hours a week for someone else. But I will tell you, I was sitting in these chairs thinking, how can I break this mold? How can I get out of this, right? Here's the reality check. This was asked by one of my mentors, Orrin Woodward. The guy is completely debt-free and who got me hooked on a debt-free life. He said, Cody, look at someone in your industry 5 years ahead of you. I was like, this is easy. They even exist in my own office. And he says, does it change anything? Does it get better? Or does it get worse? Or does it stay the same? And I was like, gosh, not only does it just stay the same, that's actually worse. Because now I'm 5 years older and 5 years closer to retirement, and I still haven't done anything better. If it's not going to change and if it's not going to get better, something's got to change. And again, going back to Tony, if you want life to change, here's the hard truth. It's you that has to change. If you want to get better or life to get better, it's you that has to get better. Only you are going to set limits on yourself. No one else can do that for you. It's only you that can set your own limits. I want you to think about a vision, right? And I'm going to share a story to make this easily understood. Would any of you, and I hope this, maybe some of you would, I wouldn't. Would any of you actually get in a car and tell your family, hop in, we're going on a vacation? Your kids are in the car, your wife's in the car, and they're like, where are we going, Dad? And you're like, I don't know. Wherever the car goes. How many would actually do that? Randall, get out of here. He's the guy that used our tax money to get sheetrock over to his first fix and flip. So besides Randall, not many people raise their hand. The reality is that's what happens when we don't have a vision, a destination of where we want to be at. We're doing the exact same thing. If you want to be a millionaire, there's your destination. Now what you're going to do is reverse engineer the map on how to get there. If I was in the car and I'm like, we're going to Disneyland, kids, I'm not going to drive through Winnemucca and Reno and Sacramento and all the way down the coast. That's going to add like another 12 hours, right? You thought I was crazy for saying Winnemucca, huh? That place is such an awful city. The only thing good there are their nachos at the gas station. Yeah, Winnemucca is awful. We had a pastor there. We did the R.C. Williams Sacramento, and that's how I met Warren Buffett. But yes, it's you wouldn't do that. You would say, no, we're going to drive down to St. George, we're going to go through the gorge, we're going to come out in Mesquite, and then we're going to go into Nevada, and then we're going to go through Barcelona and into Anaheim, right? You're going to find not only your path, but your quickest path to get to that destination. So I want you to now think about it where you want to be. Do you want to be a millionaire? That's great. There's your destination. Now, map out like you would going to Disneyland, your path of getting there. Because if you don't know where you're going, it's the Cheshire Cat on Alice in Wonderland. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Then it doesn't matter which path you take, right? Find your destination, create your map on how to get there, and that still doesn't solve everything. You've got to execute it. On my vision board, every year I have people that I want to meet. I want to make sure I meet people because it opens doors to other opportunities. I have a 5-year plan. I have what's going on in this year, who I want to meet. You can see the 3 people on my vision board. Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Robert Kiyosaki. Those were my 3. If I didn't have 3 names on the board, I would never begin to see how to get that to happen. So I put the 3 names up there and I start mapping out. And what's interesting is you start to hear the opportunity come your way on how to do it. Where if they're not a focus or a destination, you'll never hear the map on how to get there. You'll never hear the opportunity. It's only, we're a little way through the half of the year point. There we have my 3, not in a, I paid to go hang out with these guys. I'll tell you about these events right now. Robert Kiyosaki, just interviewed him on my podcast, as well as on the YouTube channel. If you haven't heard it, go hear it. He's a frank, straightforward dude, I'll warn you. I met him. He was the guy that changed my mindset in high school when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I thought it was brilliant because I hated college. I didn't want to go to college. He had my mindset. He's like, you don't have to go to college. In fact, my rich dad told me not to. I loved it. It sunk in deep with me. So I wanted Robert Kiyosaki to be on there. That was at his office in Glendale, Arizona. He invited me out and says, sure, I'd love to be on your podcast. There it took place. Derek, AKA Stand Up. Listen to this, guys. You can't tell me I'm not true on this. He's great for doing this. Is this not Woody Harrelson? He's like, hey, yo, Zombie 2 or Zombie Land. All right. This guy is kind of like my right-hand guy over at the office. And he came out with me, and he was the one like with the phone. And pretty soon he gets to the point, he's like filming, and Robert's all, put the phone down. And he had to turn it off. And Derek's like, He's a very straightforward guy, but he knows what he wants. But he was there for that. Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. I've actually hung out with Dean a couple times now. In a couple weeks, I'll actually be with him for a whole week in Sundance, just here locally. Dean is a great dude. He was on our podcast and YouTube channel. Amazing guy, super kind guy. Tony Robbins. That guy charges $1 million an hour to consult with him. $1 million an hour. Oprah pays him $1 million an hour to get blessed with Tony Robbins. That's an incredible paycheck. Here's the best part. I got invited by Tony to come hang out with him. I got a ticket in the mail that invited me and only 80 other people in this room. So I started thinking outside the box. Here was my map. What can you give a guy that does $6 billion in revenue every single year? He's got everything, guys. He's got more money than he knows what to do with. What do you give a guy that does that much money? You give him your favorite book, who happens to be his mentor. That's the book he's holding against his chest. Leading an Inspired Life. Write that book down. You can't get it from Amazon. You have to get it from the Success Store, which is owned by Darren Hardy. He bought all the rights of Jim Rohn. The guy's brilliant. That book is game-changing. Inside the book, I wrote my story of how he changed my life and how he played a huge role in my transformation of who I am becoming and helped me in my jump to like, okay, let's go for it. Let's do this. I'm getting into real estate. He had a huge, huge role in that mind shift. And so I wrote that story down and I left my phone number at the bottom. And I'm, guys, telling you, it will be in the near future. Tony will be, he's now on my vision board, on my podcast and on the YouTube channel. And I'm telling you guys right now, my vision is I'm going to be speaking on that guy's stage at some point, and I'm already mapping out how I'm going to do it. And I hope I can stand here before you guys in a future time and say, guys, I did it. There's nobody that's standing right here in front of you today is going to be on Tony Robbins' stage. Because of this, those relationships lead to other opportunities. If you will get uncomfortable each and every day, guys, I'm so sorry for you who got here today and said, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to learn from Cody about wholesaling and what marketing channels work, and it's going to be amazing, and he's going to tell me all his secrets. And here's the thing. 2 of my acquisition managers, stand up, Joe and Silver. If you have questions about wholesaling, these 2 will be glad to help you know about Utah Sell Now and wholesaling. But I am here to give you more of what we all need more of versus what we want. We all want that magic bullet of how are we going to do 10 deals this month. I'll leave it up to these guys. They do it every single month. July was our biggest month. Do we tell them? Yep. What was July?
Together?
Yeah. $270,000. These 2 are rock stars. But it's because they serve the people of Utah. They don't go in there and sell people. We genuinely help people. These guys, Selver is incredible, both of them are. Selver had a gentleman that, I'm going off cuff now for a second. He had an individual that needed to be moved to another place. He located his next place for him, and he spent the entire weekend moving all of his stuff to that house. I knew nothing about this, guys. I would have given him the credit card to hire a moving company to do this, but he felt an obligation to do it himself in his own car. He doesn't own a truck, so it was many, many trips doing it. Go over and above when it comes to anything you do in real estate. Serve people. If your mom came to you and said, son, I'm behind on taxes, or worst case, son, I have cancer, would you say, Mom, how many beds and bath did you say your home has? You would never say that in a million years. You would say, Mom, why don't I know about this? How do I help you right now? What is the biggest thing that's causing you stress and not allowing you to sleep at night? How do I help you right now? You become that person in the homes of these people that are motivated sellers. That's the difference on how you get the contract. That's the byproduct, guys. It's genuinely serving and helping and loving these individuals like they're your own parents, like they're your own siblings. And when you do that, that's the byproduct. You can do a lot of deals in real estate, but it's always a win. We never leave them in a bad place, ever. We had a deal that it was a seller finance to also do a fix and flip, which we weren't the fix and flip, we wholesaled it. The fix and flip went longer than it should have, and it was only 4 days longer. 4 days longer than we said. At the end of this 3 months, you'll get your money, it's gonna be good. Now it's up to the end buyer to fulfill this, because we're no longer involved. Seller felt obligated to stay involved. He went 4 days over, and the guy's like, man, we really were looking for this money. And normally we'd think this, it's only 4 days. Like 3 months is a big time, and we're only 4 days off. And seller's like, no, this isn't right. We've pre-funded $5,000 to these individuals, waited till closing to get kicked back that $5,000 to make it right. Did we have to do that? No, guys. But you do it because it's the right thing to do. And at the end of the day, more business will come back to you. So back to relationships leads to more opportunities, because if you can get yourself uncomfortable to do wild, audacious things and find a way to do it and actually accomplish it, it will open up to more opportunities. The guy on the left, let's see, Trent Shelton, huge in the influencer space. The guy has, it's like 10 million followers between all of his social media channels. Awesome, awesome guy. He was an ex-NFL football player. The guy in the middle, who's heard of Ed Milet? Holy cow. If you can't fall in love with that podcast, that guy's incredible. It's all about maxed out, being maxed out, living your best, right? The guy on the right, Billy Jean. He is one of the biggest marketing gurus, incredible individual, but 2012, dead broke, living in his mom's basement. He now does over $50 million a year because he's that good. Guy's awesome. Lewis Howes, ex-football player, two-time All-American football player, one of the top 10 podcasts in the nation. Awesome dude. Guy on the right, Russell Brunson, good old Mormon boy from Boise, Idaho. This guy started by making potato guns. That's his claim to fame. Now he does over $300 million a year in ClickFunnels. The guy's a genius and super kind and super loving and will take the time to listen to you. Led to sharing the stage with Suzanne Summers, Mrs. Thigh-Master. Spoke at Harvard, and we shared the stage together. That's me being a cheese ball and doing a selfie with her. Spoke at New York City Bar Association, the top pitcher. You want to have a brutal event, go speak to a room of attorneys. No offense, Jeff, I love you. But that was a brutal event. You try to do jokes, and they're just like... One on the bottom, West Point, military. That was incredible. That was the same podium and same setup that the Obama spoke at, Neil Armstrong, past president spoke at. That was an incredible opportunity. And then my favorite was to go speak to executives at NASDAQ, and they featured me actually on the Jumbotron in downtown Times Square. And that was cool when I came out and saw that. It wasn't long, it was only 20 seconds. But I will tell you, that was a cool experience. You got, what's his name? Is it Ray Romano on the other screen? Anyone? Yeah. Anyways, cool stuff. The last G, guys, and then we can go into some Q&A, because I want you guys to bring your best. I want to see how I help you, because I know I didn't bring much real estate tonight. I want you to bring your best. The last G is gratitude. Are we people that have a scarcity mindset where we only think of and dwell upon only what we don't have? Or do you have an abundance mindset? Always thinking about all the things that you do have. During this time when it was struggling, 11, when I made 19K, it could have been very easy for me to focus on everything that I didn't have because I didn't have much. It would have been very easy. But it was during this time that it taught me and my wife that we were grateful for each other. Our simple relationship and our simple dates going out to, we'd go on a walk and we'd go just to the park. We would, if we were lucky, we would go get the 25-cent kitty cone at Arctic Circle, but we kept it simple. And we will remember those times more than any other time because it was our biggest struggle. But what's funny is on the other end of that biggest struggle are your biggest joys. And I sincerely mean that. During this time, it's not a coincidence that this gentleman would always come by and visit us. There was a family that we knew in the neighborhood, and we got to know them, and the husband would come by, and he would bring us plates of cookies. He would bring us not cups, he'd bring us shakes from Arctic Circle. And without fail, he'd walk off with a smile, said, I was just thinking about you guys. Again, 19 grand this year. We didn't have any money. There was more month at the end of the check every single month. We had no money. We didn't make ends meet. But Dan would come by and tape to the bottom of those plates. Gosh, I'm a roller coaster with this emotion stuff, guys. Tape to the bottom of the plate, tape to the bottom of the cups was a few $100s. And it happened to be the exact amount that we needed to get through that month. What do you begin to do for someone that does something so generous, so kind for your family? You learn from it first and foremost. Second of all, you show gratitude and you commit to giving back. So during this time, Wendy and I committed to God that we would always give back and that any success that would come our way, we would not use it just to bless our family's life, but we'd use it to bless other people's lives. I don't share this to boast. I don't share this to be prideful. I don't share this to say I'm better than anyone, because that's not the case. But because we have remained true to this principle, I will tell you two incredible lessons that have come from this. The first one is you can't outgive the giver. You can't outgive God, guys. The second one, gratitude, if you will let it and you truly adopt it, it'll unlock the doors of heaven. I don't want to get preachy on you guys. That's not my point here. But if I didn't share it, I'd be crazy. It unlocks the doors of heaven, and you will receive an abundant amount of blessings that in turn you're able to give even more back. Why did I choose to be debt-free? I don't know. I don't know why me and Wendy had the hunch that we wanted to be debt-free from the beginning of our marriage. But I will tell you, because we did do that, and now we're completely debt-free, I will tell you, it allows us to focus on others and not ourselves. We don't have racked up credit card bills. We don't have racked up car bills. We don't have racked up mortgages. We don't have racked up stuff that you can't think of others because you're thinking, I'm waking up tomorrow because I've got to go make money because I got to pay the credit card, I got to pay the truck, I've got to pay the van, I've got to pay the car. I've got to pay the utility bills, the mortgage. That's what goes on in most people's life, guys. 67% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck and only have $800 to hold them over to their next paycheck. Being debt-free has allowed us to now just focus on others. How do I genuinely wake up every morning and just help other people? Because we don't have debt. When we buy homes, when we buy rentals, I'm not here to convince you guys, so please know that there's no convincing here. We buy them free and clear. We don't have mortgages on our rentals. We buy them all free and clear. And everyone would be like, dude, you're crazy. Why don't you leverage that? You could do this. Because I've been to too many RIA meetings where a gentleman or a lady would come up and say, hi, I'm so-and-so. I used to have 50 rentals, and then 2008 hit, and I lost them all, and I had to start all over again. I don't say that lightly to make fun of the individuals, but I've seen that story too much, and after every time I'd go ask them, why do you think you lost them all? They were leveraged. They had too steep of mortgages on them. But one story I've never heard in any RIA meeting across the whole nation is someone standing up saying, hi, I own 10 homes free and clear, and when 2008 hit, I lost everything. I've never heard that message, not once. So that's the route we've chosen. We've chose to buy our rentals, and when we do it free and clear. That won't resonate with everyone. I don't expect it to, because if you can leverage and it works for you, that's awesome. It resonates with me and Wendy, and we just stay true to that principle. Are you guys ready to take some action? Yeah. Whew, hold on. Are you guys ready to take some action? Yeah. All right. If I don't deliver something that you can take action on, I've completely failed you guys, and I sincerely mean this. Too many times we're stuck on YouTube University getting this analysis paralysis, and YouTube and all these channels, I'm telling you guys, education is cancer. It's what's led our whole entire nation to over $1.3 trillion in debt. Education. We don't need to be educated. I want you to take massive imperfect action and quit looking at, but what if? What if I go on this appointment and it's a probate deal? I know nothing about probate. YouTube, what do I do when I come to a probate deal? Oh, I got to do this. I got to go to probate court, and I'm going to call Jeff Braylio, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. Perfect. But what if I'm there and it's probate and they're also behind on taxes? Hold on. YouTube, what do I do when a home... And pretty soon you're stuck at YouTube University, and at the end of the day, you've taken zero action. So here's my action. You guys ready? Yep. You don't have to do it, but I'm telling you, this is the difference. If you challenge yourself to do this, I would love the opportunity to speak with you personally and hear how this goes for you. Are you guys fine with this? It's going to be uncomfortable, I promise you. And it could be against some things that you're already doing. I can promise you. But I will tell you, see, I'm waiting for what it is first before I commit to this. Is that what you just said? Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, I love this. I love this. He's ready. Guys, here's the action. Pay your tithing. I'm not telling you have to be LDS and Mormon in Utah. I'm not saying this. So whether you pay it to a bishop, or whether you pay it to a pastor, or whether you pay it to an elder, or whether you pay it to whatever you want to call it. Let me tell you what we teach our students in the tribe. And that is, give it, if you don't have a church that you want to give it to, give it to someone that spiritually fed you. Think about this. You go to a restaurant one night, and you see this mom that's pregnant, and you can tell she's taken on this last shift. This is a very real story. We've seen this happen. And you can tell she's working this last shift because she's going to welcome this incredible child here in the next few days to this earth. And you're like, gosh, bless this mom that's working so hard when she's already in so much pain. Don't you think that individual's probably spiritually fed you, and you could do a little bit more than just the average tip? And maybe you look in your tithing account and say, there's $200 sitting in there. This lady spiritually fed me. I'm going to leave her a large tip and walk out quietly. Pay your tithing. It comes back tenfold, guys. It's a secret. Number 2, read 10 pages a day. Develop yourself every single day. Here's 5 good books that I would highly recommend when it comes to personal development. Some of my favorite. Compound Effect. That's by Darren Hardy. You're going to learn about that 40-page document in that book. It's about the small things, right? It's not any one big thing that any one of us are doing. The doers in this room, it's not any one thing. I remember going to Matt Sneed's. I remember going to Matt Strong's. Tyler, we were just talking about here at Apartments. Not anyone has said, guys, I'm doing this big thing, and because of it, it's led to this. These individuals say, oh, it's just the small and consistent things. It's waking up and consistently sending out marketing every week, which then leads to consistent appointments, which leads to consistent offers, which leads to consistent contracts, which leads to consistently getting paid. It's the small and simple things, guys. So compound effect. How will you measure life? I believe it's Clayton Christensen. Does that sound right? That book is amazing, guys. How will you measure life? The Go-Giver, Bob Berg. I don't know what episode he is on our podcast. Skylar, Derek, do you know? I don't either. He's an amazing individual. The Go-Giver. It's don't be a go-getter, be a go-giver. Give and you will receive. 4 is Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. That is John Maxwell. This book is so good. It's talking about how we all talk. Think about as wholesalers. How many times do you catch yourself going on an appointment and saying, we can pay all cash, and we can do this as is, we can close in as little as 3 days, there's going to be no real estate fees, and there's going to be no commissions. It's like Charlie Brown's mom. Right? Do something different. You got to connect with those individuals. You can't just simply say the same thing that everyone's saying. Get out there and differentiate yourself and connect, and that book will help you connect. And then 5 was my favorite book. Tony Robinson's holding it close to his heart. Leading an Inspired Life by Jim Rohn. Last principle. You want to stay out of debt and start with the small bills. You don't have to buy all your rentals free and clear. You guys do what you want when it comes to that. But if you can't pay for it twice, you can't afford it. If you will live that principle, you're going to see that opportunity is going to come your way. You're going to be able to act on opportunity, much like I was able to act on that $30K investment because I was able to sell everything because it was free and clear to get that 30 grand initial investment to start my entrepreneurship journey, which led me to my next opportunity of meeting fine folks here in Sloria and insuring everyone, and then realizing, gosh, I'm on the wrong side of the freaking coin here. Andy McFarland stood up and says, I did 27K. I'm like, I did 19 in a whole year, and he did it in 3 days. I was like, what? And then from there, it led me to insuring every fix and flipper, I think, probably in this room. And everything led to its path to where I was like, let's do this. I can do this. I trusted the people I insured. They'd shared their stories with me, and I knew I could do it. They gave me hope. So guys, get out there. Come here. Don't just sit in the chair. It's not called net sit. It's called network. You're going to have to work. Get up and work. Get up and meet people because there's incredible connections here. And that's about it. Thank you, guys.